Hey guys, DayZ here. Today I'm going to be going over how to automatically have your DayZ Server Mods update whenever your server restarts. You may ask why you need to do this. Mods tend to get updates a lot. Sometimes these updates are just small updates, or sometimes they are fixes for game-breaking bugs or exploits. Also, since the mods are on the Steam Workshop, players will always have the latest version of the mod, and it's very important that your server runs the same mod as the client is running, so that's why you want to keep your mods up to date. This video is broken up into a few different parts. Timestamps are on screen now. So before we begin, I want to state that I am starting off where I left off in my last DayZ video. So if you're confused, I highly recommend you start at the beginning of the DayZ series. Links are in the description, and there is an annotation in the top right hand of your screen right now. So for some prereqs, I'll cover these quickly, as you should already have all of these from my earlier videos. If you do not have these or are confused, again, just watch the earlier videos in the series, linked in the description. The first prereq is just to know that this guide is focused on setting up on a dedicated server. It's not required, it's just a focus that everything that we'll be doing is going to be on its own dedicated machine, so I don't go report forwarding or natting or any issues like that. The second prereq is to have a working DayZ server that is on the DayZ standalone launcher. If you don't have this yet, go check out my older videos on DayZ standalone. There's a series linked in the description. The third prereq is to have DayZ Standalone Launcher installed on your computer. You just have to have that so you can join the server. The fourth one is to have a basic text editor such as Notepad++. Any editor will work other than the regular Notepad. And the fifth prereq is just to have the .NET Framework 4.7 at least installed. Again, you should already have this if you have a working server. So the first thing we're going to need to do is create a Modlist file. So we're going to go ahead and remote into our server, which I already have here. So let me go ahead and get connected. And then we're going to go ahead and navigate to where the server is stored. And in this case, I have it on the C drive and this folder, DayZ. So this is the root directory. So now to create that file, we're just going to right click, new, and we're going to create a new text document. So we're just going to name this one Modlist. And then we're going to go ahead and open it. Now that we have it open, the syntax of this file is pretty simple. First, you put the workshop ID of the mod, and then you add a comma, and then you put the name of the folder. So say the workshop ID was 12345, you add a comma, and then you add the add-on name, say, community framework. And then you do the same thing, again, number, comma, and then the next one. And there are a few ways of getting the workshop ID of a mod. If you already have the mod installed on the server, we can actually just go inside of the folder, so at CF here, and we can open the meta.cpp file, and we can open this with Notepad++, and then you'll see the published ID, and that is the ID number that we need. So we can copy that, and then paste that in as the ID. And then we already have this set as at CF, because that's what the mod name is in our folder. And then we'll go ahead and get the next one. And again, for Community Online Tools, we'll go and copy that ID and paste it in. And then we'll save the file. And there is another way to get the workshop ID, and that is by visiting the workshop page. So if we go ahead and close out of here for a minute, and then if we look here, here's a random workshop item. So in this case, build anywhere. And then the ID is in the URL. So this would be that ID of this mod right here. And the interesting thing about this script is you can actually add mods to this mod list right here. And even if you don't have it installed, it will actually go ahead and download it and install it for you. You do have to keep in mind most mods have extra steps involved, such as creating config files. However, in this case, that mod that I was just looking at was build anywhere, which doesn't. So we can go ahead and add that in, and then at build anywhere. And then what they'll do is when we run the script, it'll go ahead and it's going to update CF, and it'll also update Community Online Tools, but it'll also download the latest version of Build Anywhere and go ahead and put it in this folder. And then once it downloads it, it'll go ahead and copy the keys folder. So as I said in my modding video, there's keys that you have to move here in order for it to be secure. And it'll go ahead and copy the keys in there. So we already have these 3 mods, so we'll go ahead and save this and close it. Next, we're going to be modifying our start Server.bat. So I'm going to go ahead and open this in Notepad. And then as you can see, this is our script from last video. We are going to make some modifications to it. The easiest way is I actually put a link in the description that has the latest changes. So we'll go ahead and go grab that. and it's on pastebin. We'll go and click in here, Control A to highlight everything, Control C to copy it. We'll go back over here, and then Control A again, highlight, remove everything, and paste this in. I want to say thanks to Olive Gaming on Reddit, as a good portion of the updates to the start script were modeled from his original script. There'll be a link to his Reddit profile. And then now we're just going to have to modify a few things. As you've seen before, you have to have a Steam username and password. So I have an account right here that I can use. Now it's very important to note this. I highly recommend using a second account, not your main account, because what will happen is whenever this logs in to update your server and update your mods, it will log you out of your main Steam account. And if you had SteamGuard enabled, you're going to need to enter your two-factor authentication code every single time the server updates and for every single mod it downloads. So I highly recommend you create a separate account and then get DayZ on it, or maybe it's an old account that already has DayZ. In this case, it's one of my older accounts which owns DayZ. But you do have to own DayZ in order to download mods from the workshop through this script. So just keep that in mind. The account has to own DayZ, and I highly recommend it is not an account that has SteamGuard enabled, or an account that you personally use. And if you don't have another account with DayZ, DayZ is pretty cheap. You can get an extra copy for a spare account. I think right now you can get it on G2A for about 25 USD. So it's something you definitely want to consider, especially if you set up automatic restarts, because this is going to need to log in a lot, and you don't want to be using your main account for this. So next we're going to change a few other settings. DayZ branch isn't going to change. Next one's your DayZ server path. Again, so look here, that's where we currently have our DayZ server installed at. The next one's our Steam CMD path, and again, that is already correct. It's where our Steam CMD sits. And then we have Beck as well set up, again, shown there. Next file we need to set is the mod list file. So if we look here, we can see that we have it in the main directory of our server, and then it's just Modlist.txt because it's a text document. So, and you do have to do it with this format, so I do recommend just copying it from the pastebin. So we have it in C, servers, DayZ, and then our modlist.txt. So next we got to do our Steam CMD workshop path. So this is where it's going to do the initial download of the mods before it moves it. So in this case, I already have Steam CMD here, so C, server, Steam CMD, and then you would have to go into Steam Apps, Workshop, Content, and then there's that folder, so that it all lines up. Just make sure you have this set the same way I do. Inside your Steam CMD folder, it would have Steam Apps, then Workshop, then Content, and then the game ID. Next, we have a Steam CMD delay. This is just how long it'll wait from after updating the server before it'll start updating mods. 5 seconds is perfectly fine, just to make sure there's no processes still running. And then from there, the script will go ahead and start, and I'll give a quick overview of what it does. First thing it does is it goes to check the server, see if the server's running. If the server is not running, then it's going to go ahead and just skip and go to kill server, which obviously if the server's not running or if it's crashed, it's going to close it. Next is going to go to update the server. So this will make sure that your DayZ standalone is up to date to the latest version. And then after it updates, it's going to go ahead and update your mods. And once we scroll down here, this just simply updates your mods. So it's going to go ahead and log into Steam CMD, and it's going to go based off of that list that you gave it, and it's going to download or update those mods and make sure that they're up to date. And then once it does that, it's going to go ahead and copy it from the Steam CMD workshop over into the root directory of your game like it needs to be. And then after that, it's going to also copy any of the keys over from the mod to the keys path. That way your people are able to join when you have secure signatures on, which you should have. And then it'll go ahead and finish the sync. It's going to go ahead and set this mods to load parameter. And then it's going to tell you, yeah, these are the mods going. And then it's going to go ahead and go to start server, which is back up here, which is going to start your DayZ server using the DayZ standalone mod server list. With your standard settings, you can always change these to match your server. In my case, in the videos I've been making, we're just using instance 1 with the standard server DZ config file, along with server name is our folder for our profile on port 2302. And then the mod parameter is going to go ahead and take everything from your mods list and it's going to launch those. And then your CPU count, no file patching, do logs, admin log, freeze, check, just standard parameters that we normally would have. It's going to go ahead and start the server, and it's going to wait a little bit, and then it's going to start Beck. Once Beck launches, it's going to go ahead and do the normal Beck launch, and it's going to go back to check server, and it's going to continue to check to see if the server crashes or if it's closed or anything like that. So this script is ready to go, so let's go ahead and test it out. So we'll go back to our main directory. and we'll go ahead and launch our server. So it's going to go ahead and update our server, logs in the Steam CMD, and it'll see that DayZ is currently up to date, so it'll take a minute to verify. And it looks like there is an update for DayZ, so it's going to go ahead and download that. Alright, so it went ahead and updated DayZ, so it's selected to the latest version, and now it's going to check for mod updates. So it's going to log in, it's going to download each item. So it downloads the first one, and then it's going to keep logging in to download all your mods. In this case, we have 3 mods, so it's going to go through this 3 times. And it went ahead and downloaded everything, and now it went ahead and moved those back to our server directory, and now it's saying that it's going to start the DayZ server with those 3 add-ons, which we want. It's going to go ahead and start the DayZ server, starts the mod server, which launches the server. And if you see here, we have a little timeout before it's going to start back in a minute, and then we have our mod server and our main server going. And if we check over here, we can see that build anywhere has been added, and if we look in here, we can see that these were all just modified with the latest version. And if we go inside our keys folder, you can see it has all the required keys. And we can now see that Beck has launched and has logged in. And then now this command prompt is simply just sitting here, and it's going to check the server every 30 seconds, make sure everything's good. If I close Beck, for example, it's going to see that when it checks, and it's just going to relaunch Beck. So it's going to start Beck again. And then Beck will relaunch, and it'll do its little timeout thing, and then it'll get started. And then if you want to close the server and not have it automatically reopen, just close this window. So we'll go ahead and close this, and then we can go ahead and close everything else. And then now the server is going to remain off until we start the server again. So let's go and do that. And now that we see that server has launched and Beck is logged in and everything, we can go ahead and log into the server and just make sure everything's working properly. So we can go ahead and minimize this. And then we're going to go ahead and open up the DayZ standalone launcher. It's going to download the latest server list. We'll search for our server. And then as you can see, it went ahead and updated it and now has build anywhere added. So we'll go ahead and hit play. And connect. And then now that we're in game, we can go and just turn Community Online Tools on. And then we are good to go. Whoops. And that's about it. If you have any issues, feel free to leave a comment below. You can also send me a DM or add me on Discord, which is in the description of the video. Other than that, that's about it. There are going to be some new videos coming. I'm going to do a video about traders soon, some common mistakes people make while making their DayZ server, etc. And that's all coming soon. Other than that, have a good day.